This finally explains it. We just got a tremendous amount of new information of exactly what was going on behind the scenes last season with Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the New York Jets wide receiver room. Also, Garrett Wilson has spoken out today on exactly how he feels about Aaron Rodgers and what is going to happen going forward this season. We got to break all of this down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Jets Digest. Let's just jump right into the news for today. Coming from ESPN's insider Rich Cimini, he shared a column highlighting the difference between New York having Rodgers and now having Justin Fields, and in the process dropped a quote from an anonymous player who noted that the Rodgers-Adams duo frustrated guys at times last year. Rodgers was especially well liked by the defensive players, a source close to the situation said. That's according to Cimini. And Cimini also said the source told him there was tension on offense in 2024, especially after star wide receiver Davante Adams arrived in a midseason trade. That's according to two sources from the New York Jets, two players from the New York Jets. Going on from this article from Sports Illustrated, Adams and Rodgers were close from their Packers days, and there was a sense that Rodgers favored him in the passing offense. In fact, Adams was their most targeted player over his 11 games with the team. 25 targets more than Garrett Wilson over that span. Occasionally, Rodgers and Adams were heard talking between plays, with Rodgers soliciting input from Davante Adams on what routes he wanted him to run. That frustrated people at times, another source said. So, a ton of information coming out about last season, and everyone is telling me about how Garrett Wilson ended the year with a ton of targets, which means he must have had the most. Garrett Wilson ended with the most targets on the New York Jets last season, but after Davante Adams got there, it was the Davante show. Aaron Rodgers absolutely force-fed his best friend on the team, and other players on the New York Jets hated it. It's obvious now. We're hearing this from players who were inside the locker room. We don't know exactly what players it was. No one put their name on it, which I understand can be a little bit shady, but everything that was just revealed by this article is so obvious and makes so many things make sense from last season. The way that guys were handling each other, talking on the podium, the way that guys are talking on the sidelines, the cameras and hot mics are picking up stuff on the sidelines of, started with, Aaron Rodgers not getting along with Robert Saleh in game 1, or maybe I think that was game 3 actually. But early in the season, guys were not getting along with Aaron Rodgers, and it was so easy to see. And obviously there was so much stuff with Aaron Rodgers stepping up to the podium and talking about the red line with Mike Williams and just other stuff, throwing guys under the bus, blaming everyone other than himself, which pissed guys off in the New York Jets organization, and it should have, because that's not how a star quarterback needs to hold himself. You look at Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. When Joe Burrow puts out 38 points and his defense allows 41, he steps up to the podium and says, I should have scored more points. When Josh Allen throws a pass to Dalton Kincaid in the playoffs against the Kansas City Chiefs, and Kincaid drops it on a 4th down to end their season, Josh Allen, he steps up to the podium and says, I should have given him a better ball. Neither one of those things are true. Josh Allen turned into a superhero on that 4th down and threw a great pass to Dalton Kincaid, which should have been caught by a first-round tight end, but Josh Allen took the blame for it. Joe Burrow put up a ton of points last season. He still took the blame for the losses because these quarterbacks are better leaders than Aaron Rodgers was. They understood that they need to take the blame for the losses, but when the team wins, they are going to get the praise. It's just playing quarterback in the NFL. You get too much credit when it goes really well. You get too much blame when it goes poorly. It goes all the way around. Garrett Wilson, his targets were ran up before Davante Adams got to the team. If you play ESPN Fantasy Football or any fantasy football, go look at his targets from last season, and he was getting a ton of targets before Davante Adams got there. Steelers game was the first game with Davante. That's where Garrett Wilson's targets slowed down, even though Garrett Wilson, I really think is the best receiver that we have on our team, or had on our team, with Davante Adams, but very, very frustrating. Now, with this also happening today, Garrett Wilson was asked if he has talked to Aaron Rodgers, and he said, I ain't talked to Aaron since he left, so I wish him the best this season. Yeah, but we ain't chopped it up since he left. Also coming from Rich Cimini, he says on what Garrett Wilson learned from playing with Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson said, I got the opportunity to play with a living legend in this game. Every day I got to learn something. I tried to go about it the right way and always make sure I was being a sponge. It's hard to put into words exactly what I took away from those experiences. So, seems like Garrett Wilson is overall thankful for his opportunity to work with, as he called him, a living legend in this game in Aaron Rodgers, which is absolutely correct. I'm going after Aaron Rodgers' lack of leadership skills, but at the same time, I recognize the man is one of the best quarterbacks that the league has ever seen. Just a couple days ago, Tom Brady called Aaron Rodgers the most talented quarterback to ever throw a football. And I can honestly, of course, see where that's coming from. Aaron Rodgers, his arm talent is off the charts, something that we've never really seen before in this league, or seen very, very rarely. 4 MVPs. I'm not talking trash about his game. I'm only talking trash about his lack of leadership skills, because when it comes to leadership skills, our quarterback has to be better, and I would do so much better than that. The problem is I can't play quarterback the way Aaron Rodgers can. But it's smart to see Garrett Wilson not taking a shot at Aaron Rodgers, a player who there is no question that there was friction between Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson does not take a jab at him after he leaves. He just says, I'm thankful for those experiences. He just says, I haven't talked to him. He doesn't say, I haven't talked to him because I don't like him. He just said, I haven't talked to him, so I can't talk about that. But usually last season, Aaron Rodgers was, after the New York Jets season ended, Aaron Rodgers did talk about the New York Jets a little bit more. But recently, Aaron Rodgers said there is nothing extra going into this game. He said, it's just another Sunday, just another week 1. So Aaron Rodgers isn't making anything extra out of this game against the New York Jets for week 1. Of course, the media is making more of it because it's Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Fields. It's the ex-New York Jets quarterback versus the New York Jets, the ex-Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Fields has an opportunity to do something really, really cool that has never, ever been seen before in the history of the NFL. That thing he has the opportunity to do is to be an NFL team's starting quarterback for one season, and then the following season be the starting quarterback of another team week 1 and beat his previous former team week 1. So Justin Fields has a tremendous opportunity to do that this weekend, and it's something that the New York Jets have a great opportunity to do. I'm seeing on TV the Bussin' with the Boys guy, Taylor Lewan, and the other guy on whoever he's with, said that the plane has to crash for the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the Steelers to lose this game. Absolutely disrespectful. The New York Jets are going to be able to run over the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team who their defensive D-line captain Cam Hayward didn't even practice today. It's no secret that he has been in a contract dispute over the past couple weeks with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is so funny because he signed a contract like last year and the dude's 36. So like, what leverage does he have? What does he actually expect to get done? I have no idea. I'm very happy that the New York Jets got their contracts done early. This is why the top teams in the NFL, they get their contracts done early. They do it like the Philadelphia Eagles. They don't do it like the Dallas Cowboys, where 2 years ago, Dak Prescott gets paid right before the season starts. CeeDee Lamb is holding out before the season starts. When we have big-time contracts that have to get done, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, they get done early. That makes it so we can get them on cheaper contracts because the salary cap only goes up, and so do contracts in the NFL. They only go up. They're both going to get market value contracts, which are going to be expensive. The market goes up. Pay them early. Get that off the books. That's the right way that organizations, the top organizations in the NFL, need to be handling themselves, and the way the top ones do. That's where the New York Jets are trying to get to. The way you get out of being a poverty franchise is the first step is stop acting like a poverty franchise. Don't make the decisions and make the moves that poverty franchises make. Look at, for example, the Cleveland Browns. They said a couple weeks ago, after Quinshon Judkins is their second rookie in a row to get a domestic dispute before the season even starts, they said they're going to do a better job background checking these guys. And then 2 seconds later, they sign Isaiah Bond. So that's what poverty franchises do. They know what their issue is, which is not scouting the backgrounds of these guys enough. And then they choose to ignore the solution, which is if guys have issues off the field, don't sign them to your football team. That's why the Cleveland Browns have, that's one of the reasons why they're not able to find sustained success. It's because they make the same mistakes over and over and over again. The New York Jets have to stop falling into the same pitfalls that they fall into year after year after year. And it starts by looking at the best organizations and understanding how do they handle themselves. What their general managers, their owners, what do they say when they're on the podiums? You want to talk like them, emulate them in every possible way that you can. And that's how the New York Jets can become a better franchise, organization. That's how they can fix all the problems that have been plaguing us recently. And that's just how things need to change and how hopefully it will be able to change in the future. Hopefully this thing can get done. That's what I got for this video. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Go Jets.